It began not with a bang, but with a whisper, a rumor so deliciously absurd that the Korean entertainment industry dismissed it with a collective, knowing smile. A new project, a blockbuster historical epic titled Sword of the Frost Moon, was in the works. The budget was astronomical, the director a visionary, and the script a masterpiece. But the casting? That's where the whisper started. Lee Min-ho, the global heartthrob, the king of charismatic, often modern, romances, was in talks to play a stoic, tortured Joseon-era swordsman. And his leading lady, the queen destined to steal his heart and challenge his loyalty? None other than Song Hye-kyo, the nation's timeless icon, an actress whose very name was synonymous with elegance, poise, and a career built on devastatingly poignant romances. The internet fractured. Fans of Min-ho were ecstatic, seeing it as his long-awaited, serious foray into Sejuk. Devotees of Hye-kyo were skeptical. Would this be the right project for her nuanced artistry? And then, the cynics chimed in, their visuals are too strong, some said. They'll overshadow each other. There's no chemistry there, declared others, looking at their disparate public personas. It'll be beautiful but cold. The agencies, smelling the potential for both immense success and catastrophic backlash, went into lockdown. The official line was one of pure, unadulterated professionalism. They are both honored to be working with such a respected colleague, the press releases droned. They are focused entirely on the craft and bringing this beautiful story to life. It was sterile, safe, and utterly unconvincing. The first table read was held under a veil of secrecy thicker than the palace walls in their script. Insiders who were present later confessed, anonymously of course, that the atmosphere was electric, but in a strange, tense way. Lee Min-ho, usually playful and relaxed on sets, was uncharacteristically formal. He bowed deeply to Song Hye-kyo, addressing her as Sunbeam, with a respect that bordered on distance. Song Hye-kyo, ever the professional, was warm but reserved, her famous smile polite but not quite reaching her eyes. They read their lines with flawless technique, but it was like watching two magnificent, separate stars shining in different galaxies. This, the world was told, was a match made in professional heaven. The first official stills released were breathtaking. They looked like living paintings. Lee Min-ho in his warrior's armor, his gaze fierce, Song Hye-kyo in royal hanbok, her beauty ethereal. But the space between them in the photos felt deliberate, a chasm carefully constructed by publicists and managers. See, the narrative pushed. Respectful colleagues. Nothing to see here. But then, the on-set leak started. Not the grand, scandalous leaks, but the quiet, insidious ones that are far more deadly to a carefully constructed facade. A junior staff member posted a blurry, seemingly innocent photo on a private Instagram story, swiftly deleted, but not before it was screenshotted and went viral. It was a break in filming. Lee Min-ho was in full armor, sitting in his chair, and he was laughing. Not his polished, camera-ready smile, but a head thrown back, genuine, body-shaking laugh. And the cause? Just off camera, Song Hye-kyo was mimicking the stern expression of the veteran actor playing the Grand Chancellor. She caught Min-ho's eye, made a tiny, ridiculous face, and the mighty warrior king completely dissolved. It was a glimpse of a secret language, a shared joke in a high-pressure environment. The second leak was an audio snippet, allegedly from a scene where his character, wounded and feverish, confesses his love. The director had called, "Cut," but the mics, it seemed, were still live. For a full 3 seconds after the line, there was only the sound of ragged breathing. Then, Lee Min-ho's voice, soft and utterly unlike his character's, whispered, "Jal Hye-kyo, Sunbeam. You did well, senior." And Hye-kyo's reply, a breathy, tired, and intimate, "Gomawo. Thank you." The snippet was a mere 5 seconds long, but it contained more unscripted tenderness than entire episodes of some romance dramas. The agencies went into damage control. A misinterpretation of a respectful working relationship, they stated. The audio is edited, they claimed. But the seed was planted. The public was now watching not the official releases, but the spaces in between. The most damning evidence, however, came not from leaks, but from their own bodies, their own micro-expressions that no publicist could control. During a joint press conference to promote the drama, they were the picture of professionalism. They answered questions directed at each other with polite, generic praise. But then, a reporter asked Hye-kyo a complex question about her character's motivation in a pivotal scene. She paused, gathering her thoughts in English for the international press. For a split second, she hesitated on a word. Lee Min-ho, who had been looking at the reporter, instantly shifted his gaze to her. His head tilted slightly, his entire focus on her, as if willing her to find the word. It wasn't a lover's gaze, but it was a fiercely protective and attentive one. He didn't speak for her, he just held the space for her. And when she found the word and finished her sentence, his lips curved into a small, unconscious, and incredibly proud smile before he quickly schooled his features back to neutrality. The camera, forever hungry, caught it all. Later, as they posed for photographs, a flash from a fan's camera was too bright, causing Hye-kyo to flinch and take a slight, stumbling step backward. In that same instant, Minho's hand, which had been held politely behind his back, flew out. He didn't grab her arm, he didn't make a scene. His fingers gently, almost imperceptibly, brushed against the small of her back, a steadying presence that lasted less than a second before he retracted his hand. It was an instinctual act of chivalry, a reflex born from a place of deep-seated care. He was looking away from her, smiling at the cameras, but his entire being was attuned to her equilibrium. The internet exploded. GIFs of the look and the touch were trending for days. Comments sections were flooded with forensic analysts of romance. Did you see how he looked at her? That's not respectful colleague. That's, I am in awe of you. Her whole posture softens when he's near. She's always so poised, but with him, there's a relaxation. They are trying so hard to be professional that it's actually proving the opposite. The denials from their agencies became more frantic, more hollow. The wall they had built around their professional relationship was crumbling, and the mortar holding it together was their own, undeniable, magnetic chemistry. It was in the way their eyes would meet across a crowded room, and just for a moment, the noise would seem to fade. It was in the way they would stand just a little too close during group photos, the space between their shoulders charged with an unspoken understanding. The story of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo on the set of Sword of the Frost Moon became a perfect, modern fairy tale. Not because of a public confession or a caught-on-camera kiss, but because of the opposite. It was a story told in the silent language of stolen glances, of private laughs in a public space, of protective instincts that betrayed a deeper connection. They tried to hide it. They gave us sterile statements and carefully curated photos. They gave us distance and formality. But their chemistry? It was a force of nature. It whispered in the quiet moments, screamed in the subtle gestures, and painted a truth far more compelling than any scripted narrative. It said it all, and a captivated world was more than happy to listen. The question was no longer if something was there, but just how beautiful that something truly was, and whether we would ever be privileged enough to see it fully, openly, bloom.